Hi guys, I am here with Shanil and we
Hello everyone.
Hi guys, I'm here with Shanil. That's when you say it.
Oh, all right.
Hi guys, I am here with Shanil and we are doing a comparison between the Insta360 One X and the GoPro Max. This is going to be a pretty big comparison. I am with the One X expert. Shanil has done so many videos about that camera. So yeah, we're going to be showing you video quality, photos, stabilization, which is talking about the app, going to be talking about everything. So yeah, hopefully by the end of this video, you should have a pretty good idea of which one is good for you. So let's get going. So basically, both of these cameras are essentially action cameras. While they can shoot 360 video, you know, for virtual reality, for viewing on a VR headset, that's not really what they're designed to do. They're designed to shoot 360 video and then reframe it or overcapture or whatever you want to call that, and create some, you know, unique looking video there. So both of these are very much targeted at people who want to do vlogs or action shots, that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about the video quality first, because obviously that's pretty much the main reason you're going to buy either of these cameras is for the video. I've done some shots and so has Shanil. We've shot side by side some 360 video with both of these cameras, and you can take a look here at what you think. This is side by side the Max and the One X. Personally, I think the Max has the superior quality video. I think the dynamic range is better. I think the quality is better. Even though it has slightly lower resolution, the Max has superior quality lenses, optics, hardware. The chip that processes the video is better than in the One X. Yeah, it's overall just, I think, a better looking video.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think the GoPro Max has better color. It looks more natural, is what I see in real life. And in terms of clarity, sharpness, it just looks much, much nicer.
So if you are just interested in literally the quality of the video, the Max is definitely the one for me. However, having said that, the One X has more video options. So while the Max, you can shoot in hero mode, which is that one lens mode where you just shoot like a normal GoPro, and it has 360 mode. That's pretty much it. You can shoot 60 frames per second, but only in hero mode. In 360 mode, there's no other options. You're stuck at one frame rate and one resolution. Whereas with the One X, you can shoot in 4K, you can shoot in 3K, you can shoot 100 frames per second, 60, 30, 24. There's very many options there available, but at the moment the Max just doesn't have that option available. The One X also can shoot HDR video, which is pretty good if you're just staying still. It makes it look better. Also, if you are thinking about shooting more indoors and in low light conditions, the Max is definitely going to do a better job. The difference isn't huge, and the Max still does struggle in low light, as do pretty much all 360 cameras that are, you know, under £1,000, but for indoors, I found the Max to be better quality, again, probably because it has better quality optics. The One X really struggles, particularly in low lights, I think, at nighttime, and if there's lots of artificial lights around, it kind of makes everything a bit blurry, a bit stuttery. So while I think the One X is great for outdoors, it does a really good job. You know, for the price of the camera, for the quality of the lenses, it does a really good job. But overall, I just think the Max has better quality hardware, so you are going to get that slightly better quality video at the end. I swear someone said they were replaceable.
Intruder alert. Bridge to security seal off decks 10 through 12.
So one of the best things I liked about the One X is the capability of shooting hyperlapses. The GoPro Max can also do a similar thing. They call it time warp. Is that what they call it? They call it time warp. However, the Insta360 One X has more options yet again. It has more speed options. You can go 32 times the speed, 16, 8. With the One X, you can add like a blur effect, which works really, really well. You can also combine hyperlapse with slow motion. You can speed up, slow down, look at one thing, look at another thing, and then, you know, combine that all together. But with the Max, you can't do that. Hi guys, sorry, slight interruption to the video. Since I shot that video that you've been watching with Shanil, Insta360 have now told me that they're going to be delivering an update, a software update to their camera. So in the interests of fairness, I thought I would mention that. Firstly, they're going to be introducing a new HDR mode, which should boost the color and image quality of their video. Secondly, they're going to be introducing multi-clip editing into their app, which means you can take multiple clips shot with the camera and edit them side by side, so you don't have to, you know, do that on a laptop. And the third feature is noise reduction, so wind reduction, so basically to improve the quality of the sound shot with the camera. Now, I don't think any of these are going to have a massive impact on how the camera compares with the One X. When this update comes out, I will obviously do another quick comparison to see if it's improved, but just bear that in mind when you watch the rest of this video. Yeah, as you can see, it is later. I have a haircut, looking very different, hopefully better. So enjoy the rest of the video. Bye. So another important thing to consider when shooting video is the quality of the sound. Now, GoPro made a very big deal out of how good the quality of the sound is in this camera, and it pretty much lives up to that expectation. It has 6 microphones, which is a lot for any camera. It can shoot very high quality audio. I can record some audio with this and show you exactly how it sounds. Sorry, recording.
Oh yeah, we are recording, and right now I've got the GoPro Max set up on the Bushman monopod. It's a really windy day in London, and we're going to test the mics with 360 guy on the other side of the camera.
Hi. Oh my god, I'm here. Hi. Yeah, so we're testing to see how good the audio is, because that is a big thing apparently with this camera. It's supposed to be very good for audio, so you can decide that. I think it's pretty good. I've heard it myself, but yeah, we're just testing it out.
Shall we walk around the camera and see how it deals with sound?
It's not going to look weird. Like we're doing some kind of ritual, some satanic ritual.
It is.
Like,
just these.
I recorded some audio side by side with these cameras, and the One X really just is not really usable for audio, whereas the Max is probably the only 360 camera I've ever used where the audio is good. Hey guys, I'm shooting this video with both the GoPro Max and the Insta360 One X. They're literally right next to each other. I'm also going to just keep the sound from both of these so we can tell the difference between the sound and the movement. So if I move it around a bit, maybe I'll be able to see how good the stitching line is between the two.
I mean, I second that also. I think the GoPro Max has excellent microphones, and it sounds really good also. It does have that shotgun-like performance compared to the One X. It did recently have an update by Insta360, and they made the sound a little bit better. So you can definitely hear yourself talking, but if you do take it to somewhere where there's lots of noise, especially like where there's like waterfall noise, fountains, or people, or clubs, it's gonna peak, and it's not going to sound very good, so it's not very usable.
Also, another big thing about, well, both of these cameras really try and push is stabilization. That's becoming a very big thing. Obviously, both of these cameras are essentially action cameras. They're marketed at people who go surfing, skiing, skateboarding, anyone who does kind of like action stuff, sports and motocross, whatever. So both of these cameras have excellent software stabilization. You're gonna get really good quality stabilized video with either of these. Now, I know people are going to be wondering like which one is better, which one is the best. This has GoPro calls their stabilization, what do they call it?
Hypersmooth 2.0.
Yeah, Hypersmooth 2.0, and Insta360 call theirs Flow State. Now, it's basically the same thing. They're using the same kind of software. It's you're not going to notice a huge difference. Now, I think neither me or Shanil go surfing, skiing, or skateboarding. We're not really like action sports kind of people. So we haven't really well, we're just not. Like, we haven't really tested it like that. There are plenty of videos out there. From what I've seen, I mean, I've put it on a bike. I mean, I'll do some bike tests and we'll see if it can deal with like, the shakiness. But from what I've seen, they're both pretty even in that sense.
Yeah, there's no clear winner for it. Like either one would do really good for stabilization. So that's not the key point to decide which camera to buy.
Yeah, basically, yeah. If you want a camera for that kind of stuff, say you're for skiing or whatever, both of these are going to be able to stabilize it pretty much the same way. Now let's talk about photography, because both of these cameras aren't really designed for photos. I mean, if you're gonna buy either of these cameras, it's gonna be because of the video. But they both can shoot 360 photos, and they do a decent job. However, just right from the start, I'm gonna say that the One X is better for photography overall. It can shoot HDR photos automatically. It can shoot RAW photos, so you get way more data to play with. You can edit it and get some really high quality photos out of this camera. Whereas the Max is limited to 16 megapixels. There's no RAW mode, there's no HDR mode. While these features may come in a future software update, there's no guarantee of that. I'm pretty sure some of them will. I think the only actual thing that is good about this camera when it comes to photography are these power panos. I don't know if you've done them.
No, I haven't, but I've seen them, yeah.
They're really good, actually. So the Max can take panoramas like, you do with your phone, and you just kind of stitch them together, but they always turn out a bit weird. You can do something like that with the Max, and it's just all in one. So that's something that the Max has that the One X doesn't. But apart from that, the One X is definitely better for photos overall. So let's quickly talk about the design of both of these cameras, because while you may not think it's that important, it actually is. So the most obvious difference between the two, just looking at them, is the fact that the GoPro Max has a screen. This is the first 360 camera that has a full LCD screen. It basically allows you to fully manually control the camera without having to connect it to anything, without having to, put it on desktop, put it on a laptop. You can view your photos and videos straight away. It basically makes it super user-friendly.
I absolutely love the touchscreen. I think this is the future of 360 cameras, because I have to keep connecting my phone to the One X to use it, because it doesn't do a good job of picking the right exposure automatically. But with the GoPro, it does a really good job, and I can dial in all the settings in the touchscreen without having to touch my phone. It saves you so much time, so much less hassle. I absolutely love that feature. And you can also talk to your GoPro as well. You can say, GoPro, start recording, GoPro, stop recording. You can also say, GoPro, turn off. And I know it sounds not very big, but trust me, when you're out filming, it is super quick and super efficient to have those features.
However, having said that, the design of the Max does have a drawback, and that is the thickness of the camera. So you can see here, the Max is much thicker than the Insta360 One X, and that has an effect on the stitching quality. Because the lenses are further apart, it means it makes it more difficult for the camera to create a more accurate stitch. With the One X, it's definitely better at stitching.
I mean, even if you have the invisible selfie stick fully extended on both of these, I put the GoPro Max and the One X on this, and if we extended it, with the One X, you're going to get a nice seamless stitch line, and you can see your hand and the stick's invisible. But with the Max, I noticed that it cut my hand in half, so it doesn't look that great, and I'm hoping that they improve the stitching in the future.
Okay, so let's move on to talk about some software now, because that is something that a lot of people have been talking about. Insta360 were kind of revolutionary in their app that they used to, what they brought with the One X. It allows you to reframe your photos and videos. It allows you to create very many, like Shanil has shown in many of his videos, allows you to be very creative in how you reframe and create videos using the 360 space and turning it into, a normal video. GoPro has taken a lot of inspiration from that, and they have revamped their app.
So once you've taken your 360 footage with these cameras and put it in the app, then the next step is to reframe or over capture. And you do this by adding pivot points. Pivot points are basically points in time of where you want to look in your 360 video. And if you want to, you can add speed to turn it into a hyperlapse video, or slow it down, or turn it into a tiny planet view.
Yeah, so essentially the apps for both of these cameras have the same idea. They basically work in a very similar way, and they're both very easy to use, and it allows you to be very creative with the kind of videos you make. However, there are some quite big differences between the apps. There are some pros and cons for both. There is not really, for me, one clear winner. One of them has just more options, the other has more advanced software. So I think, Shanil, you can talk about what you think of the One X app. I know you're a big fan, and then we'll see what the difference is.
All right, so in terms of the app for the Insta360 One X, it allows you to reframe, make a tiny planet. It allows you to add speed, so you can make a hyperlapse and time shift video. You can make a bullet time video, and then you can export that on your phone and then upload it onto social media.
So what I like about the One X app is how many options you have. There are certainly more options than with the Max. You have the option to change speed, slow motion, to speed it up, slow it down. You also have a tracking feature, so it allows you to track a certain object that moves, and that's very good for stuff like action. If you're skateboarding, you want to focus on one thing, the app allows you to actually focus and follow one thing automatically, where the Max does not have that option. However, the Max does have, I think, superior software in terms of artificial intelligence. It allows you to automatically create a video with sound, with cutscenes, with keyframes, and you don't have to do anything. And I think that is a very good feature with the Max app, with the GoPro app, which the One X does not have. It allows you to very quickly create stuff for Instagram that would probably take, I guess, 10 or 20 minutes with the Insta360, but you can literally do it in 30 seconds with the GoPro.
The GoPro Max claims to have in-camera stitching, and this doesn't have in-camera stitching, but in terms of mobile workflow, you won't even notice it, so they're pretty much the same thing when you put it into the apps.
Yeah, so essentially, guys, the advantages of the One X app is the fact that it has more options, it has more tracking features, it has more speed options. The advantage of the Max app is that it has more AI, it has more automatic software for creating videos, it has inbuilt music, it has inbuilt cutscenes, keyframes, intros, outros, text. You can basically create a whole video without having to put it on a laptop or on a PC or anything else. You can create a full video just using the app. Although one issue that I found, and I think Shanil is the same, that at the moment there have been some issues with bugginess with the Max in terms of how it renders keyframes, in terms of how kind of it's cutting out some parts that we don't want it to. But when it does work, it works really well. But having said, you know, it's just been released, so I'm kind of giving them an easy ride. If in 6 months the issues are still there, then that's going to be a problem. But just bear in mind that there will be some bugginess with the GoPro app. But yeah, hopefully that will be fixed with some software updates. When it comes to desktop software, the Insta360 is the winner, mostly because the GoPro software isn't even really available. The full software isn't available for Windows, and that's what I use. It's available for Apple and Macs, but for full video editing, you can't get that on Windows yet. It says it's coming, we don't know when. But at the moment, the only desktop software available for the GoPro is the importer, or the
Max exporter.
The Max exporter, sorry. And that basically allows you to, again, export your 360 videos into your PC and stitch them together and render them out if you want to do some more editing on, you know, Premiere Pro or something. But even that doesn't have the full options. It only allows you to export in Cineform, which is fine. Like, I mean, it just creates very, very big files and not very user-friendly.
So with the Insta360 One X desktop workflow, you take the INSV files from the camera and you then put it into Premiere Pro. It's a no-stitch workflow. So all you need to do is install the Insta360 importer plugin, and then you can make a proxy file and start editing your files in Premiere and export it. Now with the GoPro Max, it records H.265 files. Now if I was to record a 1-minute file with the One X and Max, the Max would always be half the file size of the One X because it's recording with a better compression H.265 compared to H.264.
Basically, at the end of the day, the desktop workflow isn't great for the Max at the moment. It's much better for the One X, but the One X has had plenty of time to, you know, organize that and sort that out. It didn't have a good desktop workflow when it was first released. It was again not ready, not available. So I'm hoping that in time the Max will have improved desktop workflow, but at the moment, I've got to be honest, it's not that great. So guys, that is it. That is our comparison between the Insta360 One X and the GoPro Max. Overall, I think the pros of the Max is the video quality. The video quality is better. The hardware is better. Optics, this screen that it has makes it much more user-friendly. The app is good. It has so much potential. It has a lot of options which are not available on the One X in terms of automatically creating video, in terms of how you can create very quickly stuff for Instagram that's going to take you a lot longer with the One X. So there is so much potential with this camera. However, it is a little bit buggy in terms of, you know, the software isn't quite up to scratch. I think overall it's worth the extra $100. I think the Max
it is.
I think it's worth the extra $100, even though the software is a little bit buggy. I can forgive that. When the Insta360 came out, the software was super buggy and they fixed it. So I am willing to wait. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. Basically, it's 2 cameras in one. It's like a GoPro Hero and a 360 camera all in one. So for me, I prefer the Max, even though I know that the One X is probably better value because it's cheaper and it basically does the same thing. But for me, the Max is the winner at the moment.
So I think if I was to get any of these cameras under my Christmas tree, I don't think I'd be disappointed. I think they're both great 360 cameras, but I think they have very distinct use cases. I think for beginners getting into 360, you want to go with the Insta360 One X. It's a lot more easier to use. It has all the accessories to go with it, like the invisible selfie stick. It's much, much cheaper, and lots of people make beginner mistakes with their first 360 camera and break it, so you'll be less disappointed breaking this than a more expensive camera, and I think it's just a great place to start. Now with the Max, it's brilliant for vlogging because of the microphone, so if you do need to talk to camera, then you need to get the Max, and I think that's how I'm going to conclude it for now.
So yeah, you get that 64GB SD card, and remember the Max is also waterproof, so you don't need any extra accessories for that, whereas with the One X you need a case. So if you add in the cost of the case and the SD card,
which is always out of stock.
Yeah, which is always out of stock anyway, it does, it basically makes it a similar price. So yeah guys, that's it. I hope you found this useful. I hope this has been enjoyable to watch. We've shown you loads of videos and photos. It's just our opinion. Let us know what you think. Shanil, tell them about your channel. Where can these lovely people find you?
Yeah, well, check out Best 360 on YouTube, and the links will be somewhere.
Yes,
somewhere.
links will be below for Shanil's Instagram and YouTube, so go subscribe to him. He does really good reviews and very good tutorials on how to use the One X, and I'm sure he's going to do plenty on the Max. Me and Shanil will be doing some more videos in the future, definitely with both of these cameras, so stay tuned, and yeah, we'll see you then. Bye. We're done, okay. Like, 4th time recording, we're finished.